My father married a woman with 3 kids, and they all hate me. Sorry if some of this doesn't make sense because I'm really bad at explaining things. A couple of months ago, my father married a woman with 3 kids, one older than me, one younger than me, and one about the same age as me. Him getting married was a very emotional time for me, not because I lived the fact that he was getting married, but the fact that they all hated me. It all started a couple of years back when it was Father's Day. My grandparents held a gathering for all the fathers for that day. At the time, my dad, who was obviously invited, brought his at the time girlfriend to the gathering. She also brought all of her children along with her. After they arrived, they all sat outside. When they got there, I was walked out of the house and saw them sitting at the table along with my other relatives. My dad told me to say hi to them, and I didn't because I was 9 or 10 and I was cool with them, so I felt like I didn't have to greet them. Fast forward to the next day, and I hop on my game to play with the child that was the same age as me. After a while, I soon realized she was ignoring me. At the time it was no problem, but me being young, I just wanted someone to play games with. Eventually, I ended up texting her asking why was she ignoring me. The messages contained me, the girl, and 2 other people that we used to play with. What happened is kind of a blur, but all I remember was me texting her that I hate her, and the 2 other people in the group chat started cussing at me. Mind you, the 2 other people were way older than me by probably a couple of years. Skip to a couple weeks later, and my dad told me he wanted to take me out somewhere. Me being young, I was happy at the thought of going somewhere with my father, so I happily went with him. What I didn't know at the time was that he wasn't taking me out anywhere, but instead, he took me to his girlfriend's house for them to basically interrogate me because I said I hated them. After they basically interrogated me, I told my grandparents about it, and I wasn't allowed to go over there anymore. The things that happened back then have caused me to develop an eating disorder, acid reflux, and I fell into a deep depression. There was a time where I genuinely couldn't eat anything because of what happened that day. Now that I'm a little older, and can say that things have gotten better for me, physically, but mentally I'm still there. It's sad because I remember all the fun times we had, and every now and then the memories flood back in. Then, reality strikes and I remember that I'll never had that connection with them ever again. And to this day, I'm still depressed by the fact that I kinda lost my only friend and the family that I created those memories with.
Confession 2. Am I selfish? Venting. My mother, who has always been the tough love type of person, asked me to buy a $6 pack of smoked meats so she can make some food she has been craving. I'm a 20-year-old pregnant woman that's still in college. I live on fixed income, only taking home about $200 per check. I go half on a $300 light bill with my sister, pay a $100 phone bill, buy all of my own groceries and food which cost me on average $160, and have to pay for Ubers to get to and from work that can range up to $100. I try to save whatever little money I can and buy household items when my moms ask me, and my sister take turns on the chores, and we sleep in the living of my mom's 1-bedroom apartment. So far I have nothing saved for my baby that's due in June, and have been taking all the financial burden of my child on by myself. I've recently got some help with the medical bills by government assistance, which brings a lot of appointments my mom has been taking me, and it was making things feel a lot better. I still struggle to pay for food, but I'm glad I have at least some support with my child. That was up until I was told I needed to be out by this month because her girlfriend is moving in. I was lost and didn't know where I was going to go. I've recently got lucky and get accepted into a new university. I start classes on Monday, and after paying the $200 room deposit, my position are worse than they were before. I set myself a tight $100 budget to get some food and dorm room necessities for the move, since the lack of transportation makes it hard for me to go shopping. I had planned to do it the day before so I can make a really important doctor's appointment on move-in day. This whole weekend has been a rush to get everything situated for the move Monday, with going to pick out the room to moving everything. It's been non-stop back and forth today. I went with my brother to move everything in after giving him gas money and buying lunch. I have regrettably overspent and was forced to borrow some money for gas for my mom. Unfortunately, the money wouldn't hit my account till the next day. When I got home, my mom was seemingly in a bad mood because she had went to multiple stores that day and couldn't find the turkey necks that she wanted for a meal she was craving. I had planned to eat leftovers that I had in the fridge from my friends wanting to go eat before everybody left, so I had no interest in the food she was craving. After returning from her last store visit, she was visibly upset and being to yell at me about When I was going to the store for my dorm things and reminding me that she wasn't taking me the next day, I was exhausted from the pregnancy and trip, so I chose to rest a little bit longer. When I finally got up and asked for the keys, she told me that she also needed smoked meat, and for me to pick up some. I, knowing my budget, immediately told her of my budget and said that I had some more coming in tomorrow. Upon hearing this, she immediately became defensive, bring up all the doctor's appointments she has drove me to, and told me to just buy it with my budget money and take it out of the gas money. This option, now reflecting on it, wasn't a bad idea. However, I was told all morning that day that she wasn't make a stop to the store the next day, and that our trip to both locations is over an hour. Taking the money out of the gas would shorten the gas she will have, and I wouldn't be able to afford to put more in after that. So I said that I will just get the items I need at a later day and get the meats she wants right now to fix the matter and prevent any more conflict. This only seemed to make her more angry. She called me selfish and said I only think of myself, never those around me. These words left me stunned. I'm one who tries every I can to help others around me. I help sick co-workers, I help friends, rather it be with advice or meals. I don't mean to say these things for brownie points or to talk myself up, but I truly do what I can when I can for people. These words cut deep. She then forced her girlfriend to chime in. To no surprise, she agreed with my mom, and my mom to that as validation to go farther with her taunts. I tried borrowing the money from my brother to make both parties happy. That didn't work either. In the end, she told me to just get the things I need from my dorm and called me selfish once more. I walked out and just sat in the living room in the dark, crying. It's always been a safe space of mine. I suffer from depression and spend most of my days in my bed, avoiding speaking to anyone. I was pushing myself out of my shell for the baby, and because I'm leaving soon, my mom was getting and ordered pizza with pepperoni. I'm a well-known pescatarian in the house, so I ate a half of my leftovers and tried to nap. When I eventually woke, my sister came home asking about Emilio, which my mom blamed the entire situation on me. This was a straw for me, so I texted and asked if she could not talk to and treat me like that. I even went so far as to show her proof of my bank statements, borrow history, and last paycheck, just so that she can see I was truly struggling and really couldn't afford these requests. She got even more angry, clamped. I'm selfish, always have been and always will be. So now I gotta know, am I selfish for my decisions? Please let me know.
Confession 3. My ex tried to cheat. It didn't work out for him though. After some time, my ex would sleep with his phone in his pocket. Weird red flag, but I never said anything. When I noticed he wouldn't even pull up his phone in front of me, I knew something was up. One night it slipped out of his sweats and I woke up with it near my legs. I was just going to put it on the charger honestly, but I saw he had a bunch of notifications and messages from a dating app. Man, I wanted to slap him awake. But I didn't. So I created a profile using a friend of mine's pictures that he never met, and I had her approval. She was his type 100%, and I knew he loved blue eyes. So when we matched like I knew we would, we got to chatting. We talked for about a week before I suggested meeting up. Flirting, sexual stuff. He told her, me, that he was single and lived with a friend. So I suggested him paying for a hotel room so we could FCK. He said he would. We picked a spot. Mind you, I paid for everything because he was unemployed after losing his job. He drained my savings account over the year with manipulation. We're family, we take care of each other when we're in tough spots, he would say whenever I told him I didn't have extra money. I paid my student loans, all bills of a one-bedroom, and the food. This boy had the ballsack to ask me for money in person. That his mom's b-day was coming up and he wanted to buy her something nice. So I gave him $50. Just because it was hilarious at this point. I still think about the smile on his face in that moment. That weekend he left. Said he was going to his mom's and that he'd probably stay the night. I kissed him goodbye and told him to have a great time. Then I packed all of his stuff and left it outside. I live in a US city, so it went fast. Got the locks changed. He messaged me a few times on the app. I told him I was running late because I wanted to look perfect, but I was coming and so sorry. My friend also sent me some sexy pictures to send him that didn't fully include her face. She's a real one. I even talked him into jerking off and sending me a video. Then after making him sit until about 1 a.m., I messaged him on the dating app a picture of his belongings being rummaged through by a homeless man, and to enjoy his stay in a hotel. As soon as my phone rang, I blocked his number and went to bed. He was outside of my door the Monday I came home from work. Ugly, crying. Begging. Telling me he was homeless and had nowhere to go. When I wasn't having it, he got angry per usual. Once he started grabbing and trying to get into my apartment, I called the police. Filed a restraining order because he did threaten my life and my pets for putting him out. Found out he ended up moving a few hours away where his only family is and has a job. Hopefully he learned something.